Long ago, we were tricked.
Let's go, let's go.
So it's only fitting that we do the same thing to the person who did it to us.
Damn, it feels good to be back.
Hi, I'm Chval with RedEye. I got a chance to sit down with Dave Franco and talk about his new movie, Now You Can See Me Too, in theaters June 10th. Check it out. Talked a lot about wanting to nerd out about stuff, which is how you guys are good at throwing the card.
Sure.
So I was wondering, what are some other things you nerd out about?
Good question. Good question. I think the answer is a little boring, but essentially movies. Like, that's why I'm doing all this. My first job ever, I was 14 years old. I was working at this like mom and pop video store, and they basically paid me by allowing me to take home as many movies as I wanted, and that's how I started watching all the classics and everything and really getting into it. And I was like a shy kid growing up, and I had no intention of ever acting or performing. But I think the reason that I really wanted to get into it is just because I wanted to be part of the movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read that originally in college you wanted to be a creative writing teacher.
That's right. Yeah, good research.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I think if I wasn't doing this, I might be teaching. And the reason I say creative writing is because I think about teachers who, like math teachers or history teachers, they have the same curriculum every semester. You're teaching the same thing over and over. But with creative writing, you have new students every semester bringing in their own work. It's always different, and I feel like, at least for me personally, I always connected with those teachers better because it is a little more personal. You're like diving into these like intimate details about your life.
Yeah. Did you ever used to do creative writing?
Absolutely, yeah. So I still love to write, and in high school I started writing by taking this independent study class where I was writing poetry, and basically I would meet up with this one teacher once a week at lunch, and we'd go over the poetry that I wrote that week. And so my buddies at the time, you're in high school and you're telling your friends that you're skipping lunch to go write poetry, and they're all questioning my sexuality, and it was just something though that I love to do. Like I've always loved to write. I've been writing a lot longer than I've been acting, and I hope to continue to do that, and maybe to do it a little bit more in terms of like writing movies that I could potentially act in.
Do you have screenplay ideas?
Yeah, I mean, I always have like little nuggets of ideas, more that would facilitate like a short film as opposed to like a feature-length script. And me and one of my closest friends who I grew up with, who's a director, who've done many videos for funnyordie.com, where the two of us, we basically do everything. We write it, we direct it, act in it, edit it, and it's fun, and I hope to maybe do that on a bigger scale pretty soon.
Do you have like genres that you're interested in?
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. I do love horror movies. I like a good horror movie. I love thrillers. I like comedies, obviously. I kind of like it all, to be honest. There's nothing like, again, I'm a film nerd. I like to see everything that's out there.
Yeah. Okay, so your director has said that he had to cut out a lot of the funny stuff that you guys did in this movie to make it work
Right.
tonally. Are there funny things you wish would have made it into the movie?
Let me think. There's a moment where Lizzie Kaplan's character takes out her gum and hands it to Jessie, and there's a bit that I think got cut out where then Jessie tries to hand it off to me. And I think it maybe even goes one person further. So the gum pass could have brought
Like
some
the
nice humor.
like the card pass, really.
Sure, exactly.
So you've said that it's a miracle when a movie comes together and everything really works, and a sequel is kind of a marker of that.
Yeah.
And you're in 2 sequels this summer.
Yeah, that's right.
So this and Neighbors 2.
Yeah.
So what did those 2 movies have in common that you think made them both work that way?
I think that, let's see, with Neighbors, it appealed to so many different people. There's obviously, the younger people who are in college and really relate to, or who related to Zach and my character in the first one, who are in these fraternities, and so you got that side. But then you also just bring in a slightly older audience, maybe young parents, or maybe even older than that, who could relate to Rose and Seth. And so I think that's why that movie worked. You just have so many quadrants that you're hitting. And then with Now You See Me, the tone is just so specific and unique, And it's a very difficult tone to pull off because there is comedy, there's action, there's serious stuff in there too. And you just have to walk this fine line to make all of that work together. And I give the director, two different directors for the Now You See Me movies, but I give both of them so much credit for finding that tone. And then I think for people watching it, it's like, if you don't sit there and try to pick apart every little detail, you're gonna have a great time.
Just like let it be fun.
Exactly.
Yeah. With like two kind of ensemble casts.
Yeah.
Were they like similar dynamics, very different?
Actually, pretty similar because obviously in Neighbors it's a lot of comedians, but in Now You See Me, I think the entire cast has done comedies, and like just hanging around these people, they're all very funny. And so on both sets, we're laughing for the most part. We're coming into work every day trying to make each other laugh and ruining takes by laughing, and it's a good time on both sets. Yeah.
Who's like someone that you wouldn't expect to be really funny?
Let's see. Morgan Freeman's a funny guy. He's like, he's this legend, but he really doesn't take himself seriously. And he's got this really dry sense of humor that you don't know if he's going to kill you, but ultimately he's just, making a joke at your expense. And I think he plays into the idea that you think that he's going to kill you, and he uses that for humor. And yeah, he's great.
What you were talking about earlier with creative writing and like kids always bring something new to the table. I know you've talked about movies that way too, that you're always looking to do something where like a movie is bringing something new to the table.
Sure.
So
you've done your research.
I really have.
Yeah.
Do you like kind of approach your career that way? Do you feel like the next movie you want it to be like bring something new to the table that is your filmography?
Yeah, always. I guess like my criteria for choosing projects these days is mainly I just want to work with these directors who I admire and guys who I can really learn from. And I've been lucky enough to, for the most part, surround myself with a lot of people who are more talented than me and who I can learn from. And it makes me up my game. And I'm trying to think of like the movies I've done recently and that I have coming out, and all of them are kind of off kilter. There's something a little strange about them. And again, like, I love them all, like genuinely, and I hope they work. Some of them are still being edited. But even if they don't fully work, like, again, it's just nice to go into something knowing that our intentions are in the right place and that we're trying to do something original.
Everyone, I feel like in this movie talks about how like you're the good magician, and they're all terrible, but you're great. Are there things that like they're really great at that you feel like you learned from them?
Yeah, absolutely. You look at this cast, like it never ends. Jesse Eisenberg, Mark Ruffalo, Woody Harrelson, Morgan Freeman, Michael Caine, Lizzie Kaplan. Like every single one of those people, I feel like have either won an Academy Award or been nominated. And then there's me, and it's like, who doesn't belong here? And so I've definitely learned a ton from these people. And just what I really respect them for, though, is that immediately they welcomed me and just treated me like an equal. And I don't know, I'm trying to think of specific things I've learned from them. Like literally just.
Is there anything like weird that any of them are good at?
Anything weird? Probably. One thing about Jesse, and it's not weird, but like Jesse is legitimately the funniest person I've ever been around. He's so smart and so quick-witted, and I feel like you get a sense of that in his movies, but I feel like he hasn't played a role that's like fully him, and I want him to show how funny he really is in something. And obviously he's done, in Zombieland, he's hilarious, but like, I feel like I want him to play himself in something because he's just so fun to be around, and that's my answer to that question.
You should write that screenplay.
There you go. I like that.
Yeah. Do you ever get tired of people asking you to throw cards in interviews?
Absolutely.
I know you just did it on Fallon.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been doing it for over the span of 3 years now, from the first movie till now, and it's one of those things that my character in the first movie was throwing cards, and my character's thing in the second movie is throwing cards. And so I wish there was more, maybe I had some more magic skills that I could show during
He
this.
learned the hypnosis, not that like you could do that for real.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that would be a disaster. I won't even go there.
I won't ask you to demonstrate
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for, doing your homework. Yeah. Having different questions. It's very rare.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.